Hey, what's up guys? Fanboy here, and in this video I want to talk about 5 things that are important for you to know if you're just getting started with HomeKit as your home automation platform. And these are not like 5 official things from Apple, they're the findings of someone who's been toying around with HomeKit for about 5-6 years since it was first announced in 2014. Lessons learned over countless hours researching and troubleshooting connectivity issues with multiple HomeKit devices. And because I want to try to get this video to less than 5 minutes, let's get straight into it and jump into topic number 1, connectivity type. Not all HomeKit devices are created equal, especially when it comes to connectivity. Some devices use Wi-Fi and connect directly to your Wi-Fi network at home, which there are some major advantages with that and also some disadvantages, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Other devices use Bluetooth and they need to be within physical proximity of other Bluetooth devices like your iPhone, an iPad, or an Apple TV or a HomePod, for example, in order for you to control them using HomeKit. Other devices use a proprietary radio protocol like Z-Wave or Zigbee or Lutron's Clear Connect, and those devices, they need something called a bridge in order for you to control them using HomeKit. The bridge does what the name implies. It basically bridges the two technologies together and translates them to each other so that they can work together. And then lastly, you have devices that are connect to your network using Ethernet, but they're very rare. In the world of HomeKit devices, there may be just a handful of devices that use Ethernet, like Bridges, your Apple TV, and HomeKit enabled routers, and maybe a couple others. But those are the most important, those are basically the 4 different technologies and different ways that devices can connect to your network. And I wanted to touch on those first before we went to the next chapters, because it's important for you to know, because that changes a lot the topography of your HomeKit system depending on what kind of technology the device that you buy uses to connect to your network. But let's move on to chapter number 2, bridges. And this is one of the most discussed topics in HomeKit forums and the HomeKit subreddit. It's a very popular topic of discussion, and there are 2 camps in this discussion. One side absolutely hates bridges and thinks that they're a nuisance, and the other side loves bridges and says that they're the thing that brings the most stability to a HomeKit system because it reduces the number of devices you have connected directly to your Wi-Fi network. I used to be in the camp that hated bridges, and I learned my lesson the hard way the last year and a half when I moved to a new home and decided to buy everything new, and I wanted to get rid of bridges completely. And then I had so many devices on my Wi-Fi network that it was basically bringing some major instability to my HomeKit system. A lot of times I had devices showing up as not responding, and I'm in the process of replacing all my light switches. They're currently Leviton Decor Smart Wi-Fi switches to Lutron Caseta system, where I have a bridge connected to my network using Ethernet, and then all the light switches are connected to that bridge. So I'm going to reduce roughly 35 devices that are currently connected to my Wi-Fi. It's going to go down to 1. And I'm a strong proponent today of a mixed system where you have devices that need a little bit more bandwidth, like cameras or a video doorbell, that they are connected directly to Wi-Fi, and devices that you have multiples of, like light switches or door sensors or motion sensors that you're going to have a bunch of at home. Those, I think that it makes sense for them to be connected to through a bridge, because it reduces the number of devices that you have on your Wi-Fi network. Because the number of devices on your Wi-Fi network can be the Achilles heel of any HomeKit system and bring a lot of instability to the system if you have too many of them. The graphic you're seeing now shows my recommendations for what types of devices and what type of connectivity you should buy depending on what kind of device you're getting. Now let's move on to number 3, home hubs. And there seems to be some confusion around what's a hub and what's a bridge. And this confusion is most times driven by brands that call their bridges bridges. Sometimes they call their bridges hubs. But anyway, a bridge is a device that helps connect your HomeKit system to a system that uses a proprietary radio protocol. A home hub is an actual iOS device that you have inside your home network that serves as a hub to allow you to control your HomeKit devices remotely, and also to relay commands to your Bluetooth devices that are HomeKit enabled. And you need a device, at least one device inside your home network. Usually people use Apple TVs because if you have an Apple ecosystem at home, it's very likely that you have an Apple TV. And you can actually have multiple home hubs like HomePods and Apple TVs all serving as home hubs at the same time. One is the active home hub, the other ones are on standby. But what that does, if you have multiples of them, it's more likely that you're going to have one of the home hubs be close to one of your Bluetooth devices to relay commands to that Bluetooth device. Number 4, scenes, automations, and shortcuts. So having HomeKit devices installed that you can control remotely, it's pretty cool. But the real fun starts when you start playing with scenes, automations, and shortcuts. And let's talk about what each one of those is. Scenes are basically macros. They're a group of actions that you want to be executed at the same time. For example, you can say, watch a movie, and it closes your blinds, dims the lights, and turns the TV on. But scenes need to be triggered manually or by an automation, which leads us to the next topic, automations. Automations are basically a way to put your HomeKit system on autopilot. They can be triggered by a variety of things like geolocation or time of the day, or when a sensor detects something, and they can run both scenes or control devices individually. So you can create, for example, automations that say that when you're approaching your front door, unlock the front door and turn on the lights. Or when you get up at night to go to the kitchen and a camera notices, the motion sensor on the camera notices motion, it turns on the lights for you automatically. So automations are a really fun way to make all your HomeKit devices work together for you. And shortcuts are a way to supercharge your scenes and automations. You use the shortcut app on your iPhone or your iPad, and you can create really powerful automations that include local apps on your phone. For example, I created a shortcut called Watch TV in the Bedroom, and when I ask Siri to run that shortcut, it turns on my projector, which is controllable via IP. It turns on my Apple TV, launches the TV app on my Apple TV, lowers my blinds, turns down the lights, and turns on my fan, and launches the remote app on my iPhone, already connected to my bedroom Apple TV. So with one phrase, I can basically perform 7 or 8 different things, and it's a really, really fun and powerful way to control your scenes and automations if you use the Shortcuts app on your iPhone or iPad. And finally, number 5, router settings. But please take what I'm going to say next with a grain of salt, because the way manufacturers present the settings for their routers changes a lot from manufacturer to manufacturer. So your mileage may vary. But there are 2 settings that over the years I found that really massively improved the reliability of my HomeKit network. The first one is called Airtime Fairness, which is a feature that you find most commonly in mesh networks like the Netgear Orbi system or the Linksys Velop system. And what that does is basically prioritize your faster devices on your network over the slower devices like all your HomeKit devices, which causes a lot of disconnection issues with HomeKit devices. So disabling Airtime Fairness has been a magical solution for a lot of my disconnection issues. And the second one is limiting the bandwidth, limiting the width of the 2.4 gigahertz band to 20 megahertz only. Usually routers come with a default setting of auto, which varies between 20 megahertz and 40 megahertz. But I found on a knowledge base article from Apple that Apple recommends limiting the 2.4 gigahertz band to 20 megahertz only, because basically that cleans up a lot of the traffic that you have around using the 40 megahertz band. That's where Bluetooth lives, by the way. And when you limit that bandwidth, the 2.4 gigahertz band to 20 megahertz, it really reduces a lot of the interference problems that cause disconnection issues too. Alright guys, that's it. Hopefully this video has been useful in helping you get started with HomeKit. And if you liked the video, please remember to hit like below and subscribe to the channel and share it with your friends. Alright, catch you on the next one. Fanboy out.